everybody. Welcome back to the 30th edition of the Jollymun Podcast with Alfie Carter. This originated on the 31st of October 2019. I did it in the morning before school, and then after school I went to do a stand-up comedy gig at a show where it is a gong show, meaning that if you aren't doing very well, people in the audience kind of lift cards up, and you have to leave the stage and it all goes black. I left the stage and it all went black. It's because I was bombing. So that's the origin of where we are now. But now we've progressed. I've got no comedy gigs. It's a coronavirus pandemonium. Well, not really. Everyone's just kind of dazed now. So everyone's just being a bit like a zombie. And they just kind of refer to it. You walk down the street and everything's a bit different at the moment. Everything's this, everything's that. It's not really that different. You sort of just adapt. And then you're like, okay, wait, never mind. I'm not able to go to the cinema to watch another film which is the exact same plot as the last 58 films that came from that stupid company, aka maybe potentially Marvel. So yeah, I'm having a great time. It's a lovely, beautiful, beautiful day. I always refer to the weather at the start of this podcast just to set the scene, so you know what kind of environment I'm in. It's been lovely. I've been very productive. Just went shopping. Did that because for some reason I'm always telling about my shopping on the podcast. We've got this little theme going. Today I was shopping and I was looking for risotto rice. Okay, if I was like a Tesco organizer, an architect there at Tesco who decided where the different products went, I think I'd have to think about this a little bit, but without too much deep thought, I believe I would get to the conclusion that the risotto rice should be in the rice segment of the shop. Okay, I don't know. I can't hear any murmuring, any disagreement. But this fool who actually organises the shop decided it should go in the world food aisle, which is, it's already a stupid title, the world food, because if this is the food from the world, then where the fuck else has my other food come from? This chicken. I know this chicken's got a bit, this chicken's breast is ridiculously big considering the size of its frame, and it's probably been steroided up, probably walked around the barn, squaring up to the farmer because it was so roided up, having a bit of roid rage. But I still believe it should be considered to be from the world. Bought some milk. Then I went to the self-checkout section, and it was pretty fun. There was a really lovely woman who was doing the helping, she was an employee. She wasn't just standing around helping. But she was just very friendly. Sometimes they're not that friendly, but she was, and we had a brief chat. I was telling her that there was a problem with my machine, as there usually is. The red light's flashing in my eyes. I'm getting stressed out. Because I bring my own bags to save the planet. I was doing my bit. I was saving the earth. Okay, forget all the plastic that's dotted around me. All this and all that and all this plastic. I'm saving the world. And the computer was saying, so excuse me, sir, you've got a bit more weight than you should do. Not you and your physical body. I'm not saying you're overweight. No, please. I'm just saying that on the scales where you put your food items, there's a bit more mass than there should be. I wasn't offended, of course, because I kind of understood what it meant anyway. And they kept saying that. They kept having a go at me for my own bags. I didn't really understand that I was saving the world, because it, of course, was part of the problem, being probably 80% metal and 20% plastic. She was great. But yeah, I was trying to, because I bring a backpack, and the reason I bring a backpack is because I was thinking if I put the heavier items in the backpack, then it's basically an easier way to carry it home. And because it's if it's on your shoulders are stronger than your arms. And if I were to be carrying it in my hands, then it would probably tire me out, these plastic bags. So I bring a backpack. So then I had to work out which food was lighter and which food was the heaviest, which should go in the backpack. So I'm standing there with carrots in one hand and milk carton in the other, and I've got my eyes shut, and I'm kind of got my hands out in front of me, that thing where you hold two products which you're trying to decide for which one's mass is more large or less, and you're kind of weighing them up. I was doing that with my eyes closed, and I found out that the milk was actually a bit heavier than the carrots. I guess it filled up more of the container and average high density. So yeah, that's what I did. It was great. Man, when it's good weather, it's amazing. You can't stop it. You get sunburnt. Because I cut my hair, and I forgot what it feels like to have wind. Wind inside your head, or at least running along the top of it. Over the ears. Feels quite nice. But also, another project that I'm going to be working on is I am going to volunteer at a charity shop called Crisis, and they deal with homeless people, and all the money that they make goes to homeless people. So I went in and I said, excuse me, can I volunteer here? They said, oh, here's a form. But I noticed the people in Crisis, I don't know what it is. I think they work with the community a lot, but it seems like I've been there. I go there often to buy, like, there's all sorts of quite cheap books and cheap clothes. And I think they tend to employ people. They give people with kind of mental, like, I suppose, like, special educational needs or, like, learning difficulties to end up working there. So it's always quite interesting when you walk in, and because everything's just slightly off. Like, you're talking to someone, and I know it just means not the way a conventional conversation would go, but it's quite good fun, really, because you're just kind of kept on your toes, and you're like, okay, wait, I actually need to be present in this conversation and listen to what this person's saying, because they're doing it in a way which I wouldn't really be used to. And so it's quite entertaining. This man stands by. He looks like a mannequin. He stands by the door and he points at the hand bacteria spray stuff. Anyway, he started talking to me, and it was just like he didn't really have anything to talk about, but he talked anyway. And it's just quite fun, really. So that's what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to work there. Yeah. They asked if I had any special. No, what is it? I've just got to do this form. It's really easy. Please go and do it. Look, we could all be. Well, I could be the figurehead of the charity shop initiative. You know, I'm just almost finishing Mandela's book. He took a lot of responsibility, so maybe that's what I'm going to do. I've got a couple of sketch ideas. They're going to be on my Instagram, my comedy Instagram page throughout the week. I've got one to write. But what is kind of curious about Corona, and I think it's one of the few times that adults have been allowed to really just drop their responsibilities for a little bit, and I think they quite like it, because they kind of, if you're say, hi, can I have a job with you, for example, is what I've been doing. I'm trying to get a job. It's kind of annoying. Just walking around the place, going to bars, and to cafes, and they're all standing there with their silly haircuts and overpriced cheese. And you say, hi, have you got any jobs? And they say, oh, it's a bit different at the moment. It's going to take a bit longer. This, I think it's just quite nice to not have to make a decision on the spot, which I think Corona's allowed a lot of people to do. It's changed the working world. It's changing. But anyway, there's people, the actual working world of the people who do spreadsheets and make a lot of money. I mean, the people who do those financial things probably haven't been affected all that much, which is fine. It's great. We just need that backbone of the economy from these people who think of the economy. I don't know. I think, okay, I'm not going to go into my theories now, but I think it'd be nice if somehow I was thinking about this homeless person I walked past earlier. I was thinking, if this man from me if I give this man money, am I actually helping him that much? Like, what's the most I could do for this person, which doesn't involve me, like, hey, here's my house, here's my car, look, here's the fridge, I'm going, that kind of thing. Of course that helps him a lot, but I'm not going to do that. I'm selfish. I think it's more of like an organizational thing where you have like more little jobs for homeless people to do, or you provide more services for them rather than give them money. Money doesn't seem that useful. If we collected up all the money that gets handed to homeless people throughout the day, like, I feel like you could get a lot of a better service. But that's just the nature of things, where organisation triumphs over just like not organisation, which is why we have organisation in the first place, of course. Also, I was thinking, when I was in Crisis, and I was thinking about this conversation I had with this person who seemed to have like learning difficulties. I was thinking, if you say someone's got low functioning autism, if that means if they function low, like they don't function all that well and they have autism, or does that mean that the autism isn't functioning that good, meaning that they are closer to a kind of a non-autistic person? Which is kind of course, a bit silly, because everyone's a little bit autistic in their own way. Sometimes. I don't think everyone. I think some people are just quite plain. But I mean, you find like the person who's a little bit off every now and then. Off. A little bit askew. I really don't want to just come off as mean here, because I genuinely find these people really, really interesting. And they find me They probably think I'm boring. That's the problem. I just walk in and I say hi. Can I look at the book section? And they're like, oh, come on, man. We could talk about all these different things. But I just walk past. I'm probably very boring to them. I hadn't even thought of that. But yeah, getting a job's kind of difficult. There's kind of nothing going on really, but it's quite fun. I just go walking around Hackney into cafes. Some of them are hiring. That's what I'm gonna do after this. I'm going out. I'm a busy man. The bikes are kind of, because I've been having problems with the bike, and the bikes are kind of interesting. Where, although for us, as in people who live at the moment, of course, who else could be? I don't know. People in the future might be listening. Bikes seem so like eternal, like they're going to be here forever. They're so good, they're so practical. People are going to be using bikes for X amount of time, but they're actually pretty new. I think actual like commercial bikes have only been around for maybe like 150 years. It's not really that long. I wonder how long, because now everyone's got these little scooters or these little electric bikes. I mean, are these things going to take over? Is the old mechanical pedal quadricep burning bike going to be made redundant soon? Are we going to find them lying around in parks unused, like we do like Offo bikes and Boris bikes and things? It's curious. It's interesting. Where's technology going to go? We're definitely experimenting with a lot of electrical modes of transport at the moment. You see these people whizzing around. It's got like one wheel. It's got like a wheel and he's got no handlebars and he's kind of just standing on the wheel and it kind of whizzes around. He's got a helmet on. I think he needs more than just a helmet. It's just a wheel. You're standing on a wheel, my friend. You got no elbow pads. And then the guy comes up behind you and he's got two wheels, but he's standing on like a plank of wood with two wheels attached to it. It's not a skateboard because it's electric. It's whizzing. It's just like, how's this happening? Wonder what could be next. I wonder when we're gonna like almost commercialize like day-to-day flying, like as in, oh, I'm just gonna nip to the corner shop, and then you just see this person like levitate, with their kind of piece of technology, and they like whiz off, and their feet are like dangling behind them in the wind. That'd be kind of fun. I don't think we're quite there yet. We're too busy having wars. That's our problem. We get too like busy. You know, oh, I've got to go and do this. I've got to go buy the eggs. Yeah, I know. Yeah, I mean, imagine if we didn't have to do all that stuff. We could make all these things. But maybe buying the eggs means you have the creative space of mind to like make electrical things. Yeah, that is the war. It's the problem. It's the war. I think the only things holding the human race back currently is war and McDonald's. I think once we either, maybe we need to, no, we can't. The thing is, by taking a war on McDonald's, we become what we hate. So McDonald's is going to be this eternal figure on the high street, looming down on me. These yellow burning as people wander out. They've got like eight teeth and 3 burgers and a lot of kind of excess weight, but that's okay because it's a choice that they've made. But McDonald's makes me feel weird. There's one near where I live and I walk past it and all these people come like stumbling out holding burgers and it really kind of freaks me out. I don't understand why you would buy them. Why would you do that to yourself? Like, there's really no benefit. It's like you lose money, you lose health, and it doesn't even taste all that great. But it's kind of, you know how there's like sweet, sour, savoury, umami. There's like fast food as well. I think it's like its whole dimension of flavour is fast food. Because if you bite into a McDonald's burger, it's like, I have experienced a McDonald's burger, I must admit, but it's like, it's not very, there's the sourness of the ketchup, sure, maybe the sweetness of the ketchup also, but then everything else is just this like homogeneous like mulch of just like grease and this new kind of flavour of like pleasure, but it's self-deprecating pleasure. I don't understand. We've created a monster. It's this new type of substance which is like really addictive but not have any value to it. It's this new flavour. It's pretty cool. It's taking over the world, really. You just look at the high street, people bouncing up and down, like they're not actually jumping. They're just like, they move because they oscillate when they move. You know, that's how they're so unstable. Anyway, thank you for listening, everybody. I had a really lovely podcast. This was a lovely one. I love this one. So I hope you enjoyed it also, and I'll be here next week. Thank you very much. Goodbye.